He was young, talented, famous, and he left a note. "I am broken inside. Depression has eaten me alive. I can't fight the pain anymore." The sender? Jong-hyun, lead singer of the Korean band Chae-myoun, a world star, an idol, a symbol of strength, at least on the outside. Shortly after his last studio recording, he drove to a hotel, set up a gas tank, and died. A nation was left in shock and in silence, because Jong-hyun's death wasn't an exception, no more than Liam Payne's. Both stood in front of cameras, both smiled, both functioned, and inside, they were already gone. Liam jumped, Jong-hyun suffocated. Both wanted to live, just not like this. This is part 2 of our PaperLoud series, 3 episodes about one of the most dangerous lies of our time, that everything is fine as long as you don't say otherwise. In part 1, we showed how quickly "I'm fine" can end in tragedy, with the story of Liam Payne. But what if you never even learned to say no? What if culture, language, and society decide what you're allowed to feel and what you're not? Welcome to a world of emotional masks. Japan, Korea, but also Germany, Sweden, Spain, your workplace, your family. What do you do when politeness is worth more than truth? And what if you wear the mask so long you don't even notice anymore? Liam appears here again because his death isn't a single case, it's an international pattern, a symptom of a system that only allows emotions when they are aesthetic, profitable, or quiet. And that's what this chapter's about. But the hardest truth waits in part 3. What if the people who should have loved you never really saw you? The conversation you never had. Coming soon. Tatemae Honne, the mask that must never fall. Ask someone in Tokyo how you are. The answer is almost always the same. Daijoubu desu. I'm fine. But what if it's not true? What if it's never allowed to be true? In Japan, 2 words explain why so many people smile while suffering inside. Tatemae, the outer face, the one you show the world. Honne, what you really think and feel. Between them lies an invisible wall. You learn early emotions that might disturb others must be hidden. Sadness, anger, doubt. Wrap them in politeness. Because harmony is more important than authenticity. The group's happiness matters, not your own. Sounds polite. It can be deadly. In school, it means you don't speak up when you know the answer, but when it fits. At work, it means you don't contradict your boss even when he's wrong. In daily life, it means
you say yes even when inside you're screaming no.
Studies show millions in Japan live with depression, often undiagnosed. Suicide rates are high, especially among students, young workers, and older men. The pressure to not be a burden is enormous. Psychologists call it functional dissociation, separating from yourself, from your own feelings. You function, you smile, you're polite, and you're alone. Liam Payne once spoke of this emptiness. He didn't know how not to function. He was always the one in control, on the outside. And inside, he lost himself. In Japan, this happens every day. Not loud, not visible, but systematic. And when someone finally breaks, the people around them are shocked. But he was always so polite. She never complained. That's exactly the problem. South Korea. Performance, shame, and the end of language. In South Korea, shame is built into the foundation of society. Not failing in public matters more than staying true to yourself. Showing weakness risks not just your own reputation, but also your families, your schools, your companies. They call it chaemyoun, saving face, and it's everywhere. In schools, mornings begin with the mantra, "I can do this." Children learn early emotions cost points. Tears mean loss of control. Anger means disrespect. Exhaustion means laziness. Instead, function, perform, discipline. But the price is high. South Korea has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, especially among young people, and especially among those who did everything right, like Jong-hyun, like Sul-lee, like Goo Hah-rah. All three were famous, talented, disciplined, and all three are gone. Jong-hyun wrote before his death, "I am broken inside. I made it this far. Please say I fought well." Sul-lee, celebrated actress, ended her life at 25 after years of online hate for being too outspoken. Goo Hah-rah followed soon after. In Korea, emotions are only allowed in perfectly controlled form: smiling, polite, aesthetic. Those who scream are ignored. Those who stay quiet are praised. But silence has already become part of the illness. What's missing isn't attention, it's language. Many don't even have words for their inner state because no one ever taught them to talk about it. Liam Payne once said in an interview, "I didn't even know how to say I was broken." And that's exactly what's deadly in Korea, the lack of permission to be honest. If you've ever felt the weight of having to smile, having to say yes when you meant no, you're not alone. Hit follow, hit like, so more people see they don't have to carry that silence alone. Europe, different rules, same mask. Europe looks free at first glance. Here, everyone can say what they think. Or can they? In Italy, emotions are loud: anger, joy, arguments, direct, physical. But if you go deeper, sadness is allowed, but only if it looks good. Despair? Acceptable, only in small doses, and only for a few days. In Spain, it's similar. People talk a lot, but rarely with depth. Feelings are part of performance, not true encounter. Feel a lot, but only in the moment. Scandinavia seems more controlled, calm, reserved, but that also creates space. Silence there isn't suspicion, it's protection. You can take your time. You don't have to exaggerate. But you still have to be able to feel. And Germany, practicality is a source of pride. Feelings are considered private and often inappropriate. You learn early, control equals maturity. Laugh too loudly, you're childish. Cry in public, you're unstable. Open up, you're weak or manipulative. Especially for men, they must not be soft, not confused, and definitely not hurt. For women, they're allowed to be sad, but not angry. Emotional, yes, but keep it charming. Speak too directly, it's too much. These codes aren't laws, but they're fences, invisible, everywhere. The result is something many know, but few can name: inner separation. You say, "I'm fine," because you don't see another option, because you don't know how to put the chaos inside into words, because you learned feelings are only acceptable when they're nicely packaged. Liam Payne once described this emptiness. "I had no words for what I was. I only knew I didn't want to be it anymore." And that is the Western version of the mask in Asia. Not harmony, but functionality, performance, professionalism, self-optimization. Even in burnout, people want to appear in control. Even in therapy, they want it to go well. And on social media, emotion only works if it fits the format. A crying face, but with good lighting. A confession, but one that can go viral. But not too raw, not too long, not too uncomfortable. Emotion becomes content, not connection. What's left is a glossy emptiness, a sense that something is missing, but no one knows what. Maybe it's language. Maybe it's permission. Maybe it's the courage to not answer, "I'm fine," next time. System pressure, school, work, media. If you're a child today, you learn early how to be right, not how to feel, how to behave, not how to listen, how to deliver. In school, numbers matter, grades, not closeness, conformity, not conflict resolution. Withdraw, you're a problem. Speak too loudly, you're a problem. Cry, you need to pull yourself together. There's no space for real pain, only discipline. A teacher can manage 30 students, but sometimes not truly see even one. Later in job interviews, you must be resilient, flexible, tough, but no one asks how you actually are. At work, professionalism often means emotional self-censorship. Show empathy, but moderately. Be tired, but don't be dramatic. Meetings, deadlines, performance reviews, everything optimized except you. You can't step out of line. And then the media. Talk shows simulate feelings. Social media stages pain, but rarely takes it seriously. You can be sad, but with a filter. You can confess, but with an edit. Emotion gets marketed, not held. Weakness is either a story hook or a career risk. So we learn feeling is dangerous. Silence is safer. But that's the problem, because psychological pressure doesn't need screaming. It only needs systems that make feelings unusable. Liam Payne once said in an interview, "There was never a moment when someone really talked to me. They always just saw the product, the brand, the star. Not the man who went out on the balcony with no one to catch him."
How many people stand at that edge today? Smiling, functioning, invisible. What's missing when nothing can be felt? Imagine you couldn't feel anymore. No joy, no grief, no inner yes or no.
What's missing when we can't be felt? Imagine you couldn't feel anymore. No joy, no grief, no inner yes or no. Just performance, duty, reaction. That's how many live. Not by choice, but because they had to. If you learn for years that feeling has caused problems, you eventually forget how to even notice them. You become professional, efficient, untouchable, and empty. Psychologists call it emotional dissociation. You're there, but not connected. You talk, but not about yourself. You live, but not on your own rhythm. Often you don't even realize it because you function and you're praised for it. But inside, it's quiet. You don't know if you're tired or just exhausted from holding it all in, if you're angry or about to implode. You only know you're not really you anymore. In many cultures, there isn't even a word for this state. In the West, we talk about burnout, depression, exhaustion, but often we mean something more fundamental: alienation from our own core. A loss so deep that it doesn't even hurt anymore, because even pain would be too much. Liam Payne described it this way: I felt like an actor in my own life. He had money, fans, plans, but no access to himself. So what's missing when we're not allowed to feel? Answer: us. Without feeling, we lose orientation, intuition, humanity. We become productive, but not alive. At some point, we stop asking how we are. We start asking whether we even are. That's the edge. And that's why we need the next part. Because sometimes healing doesn't start in the system, not in the culture, but in the living room. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to stop being perfect. If you've ever felt trapped behind a mask, hit like and follow so more people see that they're not alone in this. If you want, share this video with someone who's been silent too long or who might be losing themselves right now. And tell us in the comments, what do you wish you could have said earlier? Because the next part is for you and for everyone who was never asked. The next part will go even deeper into the silence closest to us. Families where love itself came with conditions. The conversation you never had. This new PaperLoud release stands on its own. It premieres Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's 8 a.m. PT, Los Angeles, 4 p.m. UK, London, and 5 p.m. CET, Berlin. Coming soon. Stay honest, stay awake, stay loud. And if it ever hurts too much, don't stay silent. Take care and see you in part 2. Bye-bye.